The thing that makes me the happiest when I conduct is to see the smiling faces of my players when we finish performing. To see that they're proud of what they or what we did together. This is the greatest feeling for me. And what makes a performance, really exhilarating is a very interesting topic in its own right because in my view, it's not simply the music itself. In other words, the actual sounds that are being made, their vibrations which go out into the space and hit the bodies of the people sitting there, causing them to feel thousands, really, of emotions. That's part of it. That's certainly a big part of it. But in great performance, what is also in there, and it's actually in the sound itself, is the admiration that the musicians have making those sounds. The love of what they're doing, the respect they have for the music itself, the sense that what they're involved with is something really, really great and really important, and they know that it's actually happening, when it's happening, as they're performing. All of that whole package of the feelings is in the sounds themselves. And that's also hitting the audience and causing that big reaction when we have it, you see. To cause that phenomenon takes 100% buy-in by the players on the stage. It doesn't take 50% or 60%. You may think that all orchestras are hot to trot. They are not. On a given night, or with any orchestra, on a given night, you may have 50%, 60%, 70%. The rest of them are, would rather be home watching TV or who knows what. They may play note perfect. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a thrilling concert for you. Invariably, when it's really thrilling, like with the Berlin Philharmonic, for example, there's no question that this is a real team. I mean, we're to the last person on stage. They're just really in love with what they're doing. And that love is all I'm trying to say is part of what is being communicated to the audience as well. The feeling for me when it's happening is, yes, I know it's happening, and so do they. You can feel it. And I suppose it's kind of like a runner, let's say if they're running a race and they know they're winning, and they just keep pushing, they're going to win the thing. There's a bit of that feeling too about it, I think, because after you start a piece, when you start, you don't know how it's going to go 100%. And you get involved, and it's going, and then you really want to keep it going. With the festival, for example, last summer, during the season, we performed Tchaikovsky's Popular Fourth Symphony. It's a very powerful piece, very powerful. And this was one of those occasions where from the very first note, because it starts with a big fanfare in the horns, it's really bam, pakata bam, pam, pa. I mean, off we go. And for the very first sound they made, I felt it. And the orchestra picked up on it. And it held at that kind of level, that from beginning to end, 40 minutes later, it was still at that level. And this is it's very hard to do that. It's very hard, And it happens when you have fine players, when you have that buy-in I was talking about. They're all totally invested in what they're doing and happy about it, proud of what they're doing. And there's great communication between themselves on the stage and with me, back and forth. I can say one time, this can get almost spooky at times. I had one experience at the festival where I was performing something with them in concert, and I turned to the violin section over to my left, and I had a thought how I wanted the sound to change, and I heard it sound that way. Really, it's like, do this, okay, boom, without a word being spoken. And it wasn't in my beats either. It was nothing that I did other than think the thought at them. So this shows you what can be reached when you have people who like each other and are in good communication and so on. But it's a great feeling. I feel like our music, has a great purpose in the scheme of things, that makes a difference, that it inspires people, and anything that really inspires you is extremely healthy. And if it inspires you in one way, you'll carry that through to other things in your life as well. So everything gets more positive. And each person's different, what inspires them. We have our worldwide group of followers of classical music. This is something which people may not understand or have thought about. This is my opinion. Okay, so music is sound. Vibrations, sound vibrations, travel through the air, they hit you, make you feel certain ways. What is it about classical music that's like different, let's say, from other forms? Because they all do that. I mean, pop music and even rap, whatever, they all do that. But what is it about classical music? Okay, we all know that we experience in life, normal living, and this is pretty much universal. We experience certain emotions, apathy or boredom, anger, enthusiasm, being content with things, Those are basic sort of roadblocks of emotions. But what's great about all music, and particularly classical music, because classical has the longest history and the widest range of cultures contributing to it. It's not like Indian music, East Indian music, which is fantastic. I love it. But it's music from one country, and it expresses them. That's it. But classical music, France, Germany, Austria, Spain, Russia, United States, wherever, out in Asia, with composers, Japan, China. Okay. And it expresses music that goes back hundreds of years from all these places. And so the richness of the emotional content of these sounds is really unparalleled, unequaled in any other form. Now, between all those major blocks of emotion exist, however, all these shades of gray between, all the little gradients between them. And that's what classical music hits. And if you think about it, if you haven't heard, let's say, Beethoven's First Symphony, which we're playing this summer, if you've never heard it, that means, quite factually, that you never have experienced the emotions that piece creates. Because you will never get that same emotions from anything else in life. Nothing. Not a conversation, not a piece of Renoir, not a poem, nothing. You just won't ever feel it. Because that's what that piece does, you see. So what our music offers to the public is this whole treasure store, this whole treasure house of emotions that we are capable of feeling, and so are they. But until you link up with the pieces, you'll never have it. Never. And interesting, huh?